More bad news on the doorstep, ladies and gentlemen. One of the icons of broadcasting over the last 40 years has passed away. Boys, this was a big shock for a lot of his followers. Greg Gumbel, the native of New Orleans, has died at age 78 from cancer. Now, for 50 plus years, he was the voice of numerous sporting assignments for CBS Sports, most notably the NFL and NCAA basketball. The older brother of news and sportscaster Brian Gumbel, he became the first African-American announcer to call play-by-play of a major sports title event in the States when he announced Super Bowl 35 for CBS in 2001. Gumbel was most recently the studio host for the CBS men's college basketball coverage and was a play-by broadcaster for the NFL on CBS until 2023. Now, born in New Orleans, the first child of Richard Gumbel, a judge, and Rhea Alice Le Chien. As a young man, Gumbel grew up in Chicago's South Side, where he was raised Catholic, attending a graduation and graduating from De La Salle Institute. Before becoming a broadcaster, Gumbel graduated with a BA in English from Loras College, where he also played on the baseball team. He had two sisters, Renee and Rhonda. In '73, Greg's brother Brian, then working as a TV sportscaster at KNBC in LA, informed him that another NBC owned and operated station, WMAQ TV in Chicago, was auditioning for a sports announcer. At the time, Greg was selling hospital supplies in Detroit. He eventually got the job, returned to Chicago, and worked at WMAQ TV for 7 years. The sportscaster he replaced, Dennis Swanson, went on to become president of ABC Sports. Now, prior to his rising into prominence at CBS, he worked for MSG, ESPN, and WFAN Radio in New York City. At ESPN, he anchored the show SportsCenter and did play-by-play for early NBA games. On MSG, Gumbel served as a backup announcer for Marv Albert on New York Knicks broadcasts, as well as providing coverage for college basketball. When MSG signed a huge contract to broadcast New York Yankee games in '89, he served as host of the pregame and postgame shows. In addition to his MSG duties, he was the host of the first radio morning show on radio station WFAN. Now, to show you how big WFAN was, it was bigger in Canada and a lot of markets than it was in the States because of the big grade. Many a night we would listen to him and the different announcers broadcast all the way into the Maritimes. Now, in this one, station manager replaced him with WNBC radio personality Don Imus, once WFAN took over WNBC's AM 660 frequency. Now, Gumbel's CBS career began with part-time work as an NFL announcer in '88. In '89, he began announcing college basketball as well. He became host of the NFL Today alongside Terry Bradshaw for the '90 to '93 seasons. He also anchored CBS's coverage of Major League Baseball, college football, and in '99, CBS's coverage for the Daytona 500 and Pepsi 400. Now, besides his hosting duties, he provided play-by-play for the NBA, Major League Baseball. The key one, of course, was the ALCS involving Toronto in '93, alongside Jim Cott in the College World Series Baseball. He was a primetime anchor for the '94 Winter Olympic Games in Norway and co-anchor for the weekday morning broadcast of the '92 Winter Games in Albertville, France. Now, when he moved to NBC in '94, following CBS's losses of NFL and Major League Baseball broadcasting contract, his last on-air assignment for CBS was providing play-by-play for the College World Series. These dulcet tones continued at NBC, where he hosted NBC's coverage of the '94 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. He also did play-by-play for the '95 NLDS and NLCS, on both occasions teaming with Joe Morgan. He also did play-by-play for the NBA on NBC, hosted NBC's daytime coverage of the '96 Summer Olympics for Atlanta. He also hosted the '95 World Championship of Figure Skating and served as host in the studio for the NFL and NBC. Now, Gumbel left NBC after a network broadcast of the Super Bowl 32 to return to CBS. He also did college basketball for a while there. Now, because CBS had just acquired the rights to NBC's previous NFL package, he joined the broadcast team as a lead announcer with fellow NBC alumnus Phil Simms as his colorman. He was a lead announcer for the NFL on CBS between '98 and 2003, calling Super Bowl 35 and 38. For the 2004 season, Gumbel traded positions with Jim Nantz as host of the NFL Today, with Nantz taking over as lead announcer. Now, at the end of the 2005 NFL season, Gumbel was replaced as studio host by James Brown. The NFL today now allowed him to departure allowed him to return to broadcast booth as a number 2 play-by-play man, replacing Dick Enberg alongside colorman Dan Dierdorf until Dierdorf retired after the 2014 NFL season. Gumbel also worked alongside Trent Green in the number 3 team from 2014 until 2019. He worked in a 3-man booth with Green and Bruce Arians for the 2018 NFL season. Gumbel then traded spots with Kevin Harlan in 2020, teaming with Rich Gannon. Artem Archuleta eventually became Gumbel's partner in the number 4 slot the following year after CBS declined to renew Gannon's contract. Now, CBS Sports extended its contract with Gumbel on March 15, 2023, which allowed him to continue hosting college basketball while stepping back from NFL coverage. However, Gumbel was absent from March Madness coverage in 2024 due to family health issues. Now, Gumbel resided in Fort Lauderdale, and in 1999, he also refused to attend a NASCAR banquet honoring Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas on the basis that he disagreed with Thomas's positions on political issues. He regularly appeared on Howard Stern's radio show alongside similar lines. Gumbel said of Rush Limbaugh, "I find him someone whose words and opinions I can do without." Unfortunately, he passed away from cancer on December 27, 2024, this Friday, at the age of 78. Now, Gumbel was the 3rd man to serve as both host and play-by-play announcer for Super Bowls. The first 2 were Dick Enberg and Al Michaels, respectively. He hosted Super Bowls 26, 30, and 32 before calling Super Bowls 35 and 38. Jim Nantz became the 4th man to do so after he called Super Bowl 41 for CBS. Now, during his tenure as chief anchor of the NFL Today, he served alongside co-anchors Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, and Boomer Esiason, probably the best what he called studio team in football history. The group was known to call him by his revered nickname, Gumby. Now, Greg Gumbel, a very humble guy for 50 years, he basically was the voice of America. Now, Bryant was a little bit more controversial. He was more on the news side. But Greg, to have both him and Bryant, prominent black announcers, black presenters, it came to a point that, ladies and gentlemen, only one person could be as good as the announcers that followed before. I think of Dick Enberg. I think of all the great college announcers. I know Keith Jackson once said of Greg Gumbel, one of the most underrated announcers of all time, and he's going to be missed. I remember as a young sports editor in my 30s, in the late 1990s, early 2000s, seeing Gumbel every weekend, and he was so smooth. He's just like milk chocolate, ladies and gentlemen. To hear he's passing, ladies and gentlemen, and he was just as good at basketball and other sports as well. And he was the voice of the Olympics there for a lot of years. He kept it going. And in the words of my father, there's a big difference between Greg Gumbel and Brian Gumbel, just to listen to the way they talk. Greg was very smooth, while Bryant was more like he wanted to do more news. But Greg, as an in-house host, made CBS and NBC that much better. And like I said, he's going to be greatly missed. So the great Greg Gumbel, one of the best announcers in American sports history, passed away. And again, a bad year for celebrities. We've done a lot of podcasts, ladies and gentlemen, on 2024. People passing away just as another bad news and a doorstep day. So Greg Gumbel, we love you, man. Rest in peace.